Dave Stewart, I am so elated to be talking to you right now. I mean, we all know who you are, but I'm going to remind everybody of just the incredible history that you have as a performer. I mean, you have over 4 decades of an incredible career, 100 million album sales. I mean, hello. Obviously, you are one of the co-founders of the Eurythmics with Annie Lennox, one of my absolute favorites.
Mhm.
And you've co-written songs with, just a few names that people might know, like Bob Dylan, Mick Jagger, Tom Petty, Gwen Stefani, Stevie Nicks, who I'm a massive fan of too. I mean, the list goes on. Sinead O'Connor, Aretha Franklin. My goodness, is there anything you haven't done? You have Grammys, you have a Golden Globe. You've been inducted to the Grammy Hall of Fame, the U.S. Library of Congress National Recording Registry because of the significance in history that you've made in the music industry. I mean, you are an entertainment god, sir. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to speak to little old me. I really appreciate it.
Well, the thing is, like any artist, at the beginning, you're always struggling about, and Annie and I, we're a duo that lived together before we actually decided to be a duo. We lived together, didn't write any songs. Then we decided to live apart, and then we wrote 140 songs and released 9 albums or something as a duo. And of course, you would know a lot of those songs. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This.
Mm-hmm.
Here Comes the Rain Again, Would I Lie to You, Missionary Man, Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves. There's a whole list, of which I'm playing all these in a set. I'm on tour at the moment with Bryan Adams, and I have an all-girl, 8-piece girl band that are all amazing musicians, like virtuosos and singers, and we're having a great time. And we're playing tomorrow night,
Yes.
just outside of 20 minutes from where I am at the moment. And where I am at the moment is Boise, Idaho, and that's why we're chatting.
Yes.
And yeah, working with all those different artists over the years, I never really thought about it at the time. Things tumble into your life, and all of a sudden, yeah.
And then here you are.
Yeah, I'm sitting in a room with, some people that were like, to me, legends when I was growing up, like the Rolling Stones or Bob Dylan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so looking back on it is more sort of like, not shocking, but like, just can't kind of get my head around it. But at the time, you're in the middle of this tumbling dice.
Yes.
So,
It's a beautiful ride, right? Like,
yeah, well, it's still going on. I mean, obviously, creative people, they don't really stop and go, I'm retiring from being creative now. It's like, it's not a job as such. It's
agreed.
It's hard work, but I mean, it's not something where you go, well, I'm going to retire at this particular point. So last year, for instance, I launched a film I've been making, and launched it at the Rome Film Festival, and then about.
And that's Who to Love, right? That's the rock opera, right?
Who to Love, yeah. And I'm busy writing the full-length feature script of that. But a month after that, I launched a musical that I was writing with Joss Stone, the time traveler's wife, based on a famous book. And then I went on a 4-week tour of Britain and Europe, and then went back home for Christmas. And then now it's January, and I'm already on
You're
the
in the
road.
States.
Yeah.
You're busy. You're very, very busy. I want to talk about, though, the Eurythmics songbook tour, your Sweet Dreams 40th anniversary tour. Why did you decide to put this together? Why did you decide now? Obviously 40th anniversary, but why this tour in particular?
Well, you see, about a year and 2 months ago, we were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and about 4 months before that, we were inducted in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And obviously, we've won just about every award in Britain, but when it came to the 40th anniversary of Sweet Dreams, which I wasn't really thinking about, it was like, wow. And just before COVID, I got asked by Nile Rodgers if I would play a whole set of Eurythmics songs at the closing of this famous festival in London called Meltdown, and it's curated by different people. Patti Smith, David Bowie did it, and he was curating it this time. And I thought about it, and I thought, oh yeah, why not? So I put a band together, and I decided to make this like film that went with it on a screen. And I performed, 2 hours of Eurythmics songs to a packed out audience. And everybody went crazy about it, and then the reviews were great. And right then, this is just before COVID, I thought, oh, I should take this on the road. And of course, I couldn't because of COVID, like everybody else. And so when we went through the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that stuff, and then the 40th anniversary came about, I thought, okay, well, now or never, so I'm going to do it.
Yes, and we're so glad that you did. Because then now, I mean, my goodness, we all here finally get to go see this live in person tomorrow, or actually today here in Boise. You never anticipated when you started this career that one day you'd be sitting down in a room working with, people that you looked up to, like Bob Dylan, for instance. So what was it like when you actually got to sit down and create and, make art with these people that are also so significant themselves?
Well, the funny thing is that, I didn't ever think about being a musician. I was going to be a soccer player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was playing on about 3 different teams, and this is in the northeast of England, and when I was 14, somebody broke my kneecap on a soccer pitch. And it was then sitting in the house and really depressed about it, and same time my mum had left my dad. My dad was sad at work, my brother had gone away to college. I was just sitting on my own, and the postman came with a box, and it had a stamp from Memphis on it, and it looked very exotic, like USA, Memphis. And I realized, my cousin Ian had gone to Memphis. He was about 9 years older. And I opened it, and inside was 2 pair of Levi corduroy jeans, which I'd never seen before. But under that was 3 blues albums, prime, And so I was just thinking myself as a football player. And when I saw these albums, I thought, I'll put them on my dad's record player. And I put one on, and I went into a kind of trance. And literally, I found my brother had a guitar in the wardrobe with 5 strings on it. And then I started to sort of play on that, and then I put the radio on, and it was the Stones and the Beatles, and I was like, shit, what am I doing? Sorry, I meant, what am I doing? Like, there's music all around, right? So not long after that, literally, I was 14, so when I was 18, I was down in London, and then got signed by Elton John to his record label, and Chris Blackwell to Island Music, who had, Bob Marley and all these people. And so, I was very inspired because, the band I was in, all from the Northeast, and Elton was peak, massive peak of fame. He was just about to release Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player, which has, Daniel is traveling tonight, and I can see the red, and Rocket Man, and all these songs. He would just sing them in the office on the piano, So I got sort of the idea about songwriting is really interesting, and fortunately, Elton is one of the greatest. I got to sit there listening to him working, Bernie Taupin would send lyrics, and he'd be banging.
Wow.
And so by the time Annie and I formed Eurythmics, and obviously had huge success with Sweet Dreams and all the rest, Here Comes the Rain and all that, I had been through a little bit of a sort of a university course in songwriting, just watching Elton. And so Daryl Hall arrived in London literally in 1984. and I wrote and produced an album with him. I just produced and wrote his new album. Just finished it. It's coming out in the spring.
Wow.
And then it was never ending. It was like Tom Petty and this one and that one. And at the same time, I was making albums after album with Annie. So, it's just been a sort of never-ending journey of songwriting, playing live, and music became my whole life. And at one point, I stopped and said, hang on a minute. And I picked up a camera and I started taking photographs because around me was so interesting. So I took loads of photographs of Bjork, and then I took loads of photographs of Sinead O'Connor, who I was just making an album with her. And then I started to get very sort of technically into the whole thing. And so, they're in a gallery at the moment called the Morrison Hotel Gallery. But I started to sort of then write little film scripts, because I used to write the little video sort of synopsis for Sweet Dreams or, whatever we were doing. So I got into that whole visual mixed with music, and that's what I still am obsessed with today.
Lovely. So on that note, what is it going to be like when we go to the show here in at the Ford Idaho Center, the Eurythmics Songbook Tour? What can people expect when they come to this performance?
Well, it is a sort of visual feast, because I have 8 amazing female musicians, but we've all got particular look right together. And then above us is a screen which also is showing us on stage, but also interjected with films that I've made. So it's it's a full assault on the senses, really.
That's cool. That's cool, though. It's going to be fully immersive, right?
Yeah.
Fully immersive. Dave, you have been a dream, a sweet dream talking to. Again, though, how do people keep up with you? Because you are, like you said, you're creative and you're always creating. So how do we follow you and keep up with all the amazing projects that you're doing?
Well, I'm not very sort of, one of these people that are constantly posting things, but I have a Facebook account, which is, I think it's just called Dave Stewart Official. You'll find it anyway. It's probably the last thing I posted was last night.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then I have Instagram. It's Dave Stewart Eurythmics. I have a website, DaveStewartENT.com, like Dave Stewart, and then short for entertainment, DaveStewartENT.com, and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much stuff. That's the problem. So if you go to DaveStewartENT.com, well, also that's my little company, and we make videos for other people. And I made a whole documentary with Stevie Nicks and produced 2 of our albums. And
I love Stevie Nicks.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to do the deep dive, they can go into that.
Wonderful.
And then for the deep dive, there's fan sites, like one's called Eurythmics Ultimate, I think. He's got thousands of pages, and it's whatever Annie's doing and whatever I'm doing. So there's lots of different ways if anybody is interested.
Oh, they are, and they will. I do have to say something really quick, Dave. I know Stevie Nicks calls you her hero. I thought that was very endearing. So I had to say that, because I thought that was pretty cool. I know you've gotten a lot from working with all these amazing artists throughout your journey, but it sounds like that they're getting a lot from you as well. And I think all of our viewers will get a lot when they come to your show too.
Yeah, I think they probably are not understanding what to expect, but I think so far it's always blown their minds in the audience we've played so far. And it's like a massive sort of celebration, of music.
Wonderful. Dave, thank you. So graciously, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate your time.